Alright, good evening folks. It is Saturday night and we are live here with the Cyber Racing Association's Homes Now series. Tonight we are in a magical little DeLorean, seeing how I told Alan we were going back racing and he magically built one here within about an hour or so. So we're going to be here at Daytona 07 with the K&N cars, and if there's anything that you can remember from back in the day is that this track is absolutely brutal on cars. As we're sitting high in the iRacing blimp here, getting a great look at Lake Mead and everything in the infield. You can also see the 24-hour Rolex course. Seeing some good times out here in practice so far, and it's going to be interesting to see what qualifying. As always, I am joined by my cohort in crime and the man who did bring the DeLorean back, but there is no cocaine in it this time, sadly. But Alan, how you doing tonight?
You know what, Art? I'm doing pretty good. Glad to be back. Glad to be back broadcasting these guys, because these guys are good at super speedways, and I love to watch them.
It's definitely been a long time coming, and I can proudly say I'm very, very glad to be back covering this series. I absolutely loved it in the past, and unfortunately our schedules just got a little misaligned, but we're back and better than ever, and hopefully tonight being 07, we're going to see some of the traditional racing that we're used to with these guys here. I know that I'm looking through the driver list here. There's some new faces, but a lot of the names I still remember, so I know we're going to be in for a good show.
Yeah, definitely. These guys always put up a good show, so I will definitely do my best not to trip over my own tongue tonight. And we're on a diet, so we stayed away from the all-you-can-eat buffet.
I was just going to ask about that. We do have catering services, but you stayed away from the buffet. Man, I'm going to have to give you some bonus points for that one. We're going to bring the 58 of Jim Peterson in here because he is the title series sponsor, and we're going to let him kind of explain to those of you who don't know exactly what Homes Now exactly is. Hey Jim, how you doing tonight?
Alright, who's this?
It's Art up in the booth.
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad. Brought you up here, seeing how you are the title series sponsor here. I'd figure I'd let you go ahead and explain to the folks out there exactly what Homes Now is so they get a better understanding.
Hey, Homes Now, we're a non-profit in Bellingham, Washington. We build tiny homes for the homeless. We've been around for 5 months. We built 3 homes. We also feed the homeless once a month and pass out cold weather gear, and we're doing a sleep-in in December, trying to get the city to let us build more, and we just try to house the homeless and do what we can to help the homeless. If they can't be housed, we try to provide them with warm clothes and stuff so they don't have to suffer.
Awesome. It's great to see that all of humanity is not lost out there, and there's still people that care in this world. Now, I know you are a vet yourself, and that kind of hits home with me because we share as brothers in arms, and I know that a lot of the population of the veterans coming back from overseas end up on the streets, and the fact that there's programs like this out here just helps to make things a little bit easier, because there is a hard transition when you come from combat back to civilization. But once again, it's just awesome to know that there's people out there that still care about humanity, and obviously Dwayne picked the perfect sponsor for this series.
Yeah, one of the things that we noticed here in Bellingham, we have 800 homeless people living on the streets, and about 25% of them are vets, and to me that's unacceptable. If they're willing to lay down their lives for their country, we ought to be able to house them.
100% agreed right there, but just wanted to get you up here and get everybody up to speed. See, there's about 3 minutes left here in practice, so we'll let you get back at it. Good luck in the race, and hopefully we'll be interviewing you at the end.
Hey, thanks, and you can check us out at humsnow.org.
All right, you guys heard her there.
All right, Jim. What room do I got to put you back in? Because I missed it.
Radical Racing.
All right, good to see that. We have a non-profit organization making sure that everybody in the Washington area stays housed, and if they can't stay housed, they at least put clothes on their back. All hope is not lost for humanity. There's an old familiar face I just saw there coming up off of the apron. Let me scroll over here and take a look and make sure, and that is exactly who I thought it was. So as now we approach the 2-minute warning here in practice. We see Trading Paints is constantly updating the cars here. Right now it looks like still the fastest driver out on the track is going to be that number 9 car of Paul Servant. Behind him we'll have the 88 of Gregory Thompson. Let's go ahead while we still have a little bit of time. Let's see if we can get a good shot here of the suspension, because as I said, this is Daytona 07. It's the bumpiest, most brutal Daytona ever raced, and back when I first started iRacing, this was the track that we had to run on, and you can see even on the straightaway, that right front tire is doing a lot of moving. Just wait till we get in the corner here, and you'll really see how much that right side suspension cycles here. Looks almost like a pogo stick.
Yeah, it does. So I've been out of touch with iRacing for several months, guys. So apparently there's been some updates to this package since the last time we've been here. The car looks like it's a little more unstable, maybe a little more twitchy up in the corners, which is going to make things real interesting in the draft on this surface because of it being so rough.
Well, the one thing that we've always noticed, and it's always going to stand true, these cars are a double-edged sword. They're one of the fastest cars on the iRacing service, but also they're one of the most deadliest when it comes to drafting, seeing how the backs of these cars are about as square as a 2x4, and the nose of these cars are like a spade shovel. So all it takes is just a little bump in the wrong area, like in a corner, and you'll see exactly what we've seen in the past, which has led to some very epic wrecks over the couple seasons that we had covered them. You got to hit these cars in the right places at the right time and know when to feather out of the throttle. Otherwise, you could potentially either send a car down onto the apron or, worst case, ricochet them up the track and cause all kinds of chaos. As we have now advanced into qualifying, we can see that everybody is out on track, so it is now open qualifying. And the other interesting fact that still holds true to this car, that even when we get them lined up and ready to go here for the green flag, it still takes them almost 2 laps to fully get up to speed here. They're a rather tall geared car, but when they get up there and you're in 4th and you finally got that thing up redlining, we're going to see speeds probably, normally we see Talladega and the Daytona that everybody's associated with. We see speeds around maybe 204 to 208 in the draft. With this being a little bit bumpier, we might lose a few miles an hour, but I still would not put it past to see some 202s to 205s. And news from the race tower, this was supposed to be closed qualifying, but it accidentally got left as open, so all future races will be closed qualifying, but it will actually make for a more interesting qualifying here, being that it is open. Now, we are running stage races. It's 90 laps, and it's going to be 3 stages of 30. Now, there will be also, depending on the circumstances, just like real life, there will be a green, white, checkered if we get a caution within the handful of laps left in the final stage. So there'll be attempts for a green, white, checkered, but just like with NASCAR, once you cross that overtime line, whoever gets to the finish line first is going to be your winner. Right now, looking at the times, pole is going to be sitting on the 66 of Bobby Tinch as he's run a 56.552. Behind him, we have Jim Peterson with a 46.583. Now, Earl Arts Jr. takes the 3rd spot with a 46.658. Marty Ray in 4th with a 46, and then we're going to see things move around now. So the 9 of Paul Servant's going to run a 45.683, which is going to move him up to the top of the food chain here. This is what I love about open qualifying, though. It gives anybody the chance, as long as they've got draft, to get the pole. So we look at the group of cars here. See if times change as they cross the line here, as we see the 44, the 9, the 99, and the 112. Now we'll see the 99 of Thomas LaBarre. He's going to get up there and grab the pole with a 45.486. Take a look at the speeds. As they come off the corner, we're seeing 199, 200, 201. Now that's going to be the middle car there, the 99 of Thomas LaBarre, and that's always the sweet spot when you're the second car in the draft, because you're going to have a lot more speed. As we see him go 3 wide here in qualifying, and then, ouch. Good thing this isn't the race yet, because that'd be some tore up cars. All right, so with qualifying coming to an end here, we are going to bring out, as always, the U.S. Army Marching Band, and they're going to give us our national anthem. So please rise and remove your hats. Beautiful job as always, which is going to lead us into tonight's starting lineup. On pole, we have the 65 of Marty Ray with a 45.439. Starting outside of him, first car in row 2 will be the 58 of Jim Peterson. Third place goes to the 66 of Bobby Tinch. Starting outside of him will be Thomas Labar in the 99 and 4th. Fifth goes to the 9 of Paul Servant. David Anderson in the 44 will be starting 6th. Harry Tiller in the 112 will be starting 7th. Dana Osborne in the 8 will roll off from 8th position. Rodney Wofford in that number 3 starts 9th tonight, and rounding out the top 10 will be the 00 of Dwayne Cooper. Starting 11th, we have Earl Arts Jr. in the 61. Daniel Holloway in the 26 will start 12th. R.D. Peterson Jr. in the 113th. Michael Cuzzy Jr. in the 12 car will roll off 14th. Travis Brown in the 01 15th. Jeremy Funk in the 97 will start 16th tonight. Josh Mayu will roll off 17th. Daniel Jackson, he's rocking my number, the 78, will start 18th tonight. 19th goes to Roger Stewart in the 5. Jason Rodebush in the 96 will round out the top 20. Daniel Harrington in the 82 will start 21st. Lance Marsh in the 60 will roll off 22nd. 23rd goes to the 20 of Michael Coe. Rick Seabrands in the 2 will start 24th. Eric Knakes will start 25th in the Wood Brothers 21. Gregory Thompson in the 88 will roll off 26th. Kevin Hash in the 30 will start 27th. Sawyer Ott in the 35 rolls off 28th. Raymond Rittenhauer in the 87, who we've seen up the front a lot, rolls off 29th. Justin Levine, 30th. Matthew Welsenbach will start 31st. Chris Akers in the 54 will start 32nd. And I do believe that should round out the field here. So as they get ready to take off here, we are on the pace lap. So we're going to go ahead here and focus on your leader. So we see him coming down the backstretch here. Brett Bodine barely, I think Brett Bodine's shrinking a little bit. It looks like a little old lady driving that Mustang. You can barely see his sunglasses over the steering wheel there. All right, as the pace car makes its way through 3 and 4, we are about ready to set this thing off. They're going to light the fires and kick the tires. So, Alan, what do you think we're going to see on the opening laps here?
Well, you know, during practice they were beating and banging, so hopefully they take it a little bit easy here for this first segment.
Green flag.
Hopefully they do take it easy and not run each other over and get a feel for how each other drives, and we'll see how it goes.
So as they have taken the green flag, they're going to haul it off into turn 1 for the first time here. You see the 66 there of Bobby Tinch, second car on the inside. He was able to drop down from the outside row. So we see they're staying nice and organized. The inside and outside, a little bit of switching going on. Nothing too crazy yet. You see some 3 wide going on back there between the 8, the 3. I think that was just a little bit of got stuck out in the wrong place at the wrong time, but they will make the first lap clean as we are now in a lap 2 here in stage 1.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to stay double file here through the first couple of laps and not really pushing too hard. you know, other than other than Dwayne making it 3 wide and shooting the gap there.
I remember what we talked about before the. Oh, we had
And there goes
the 58.
58 around.
Oh, that's a big wreck. Big wreck there in turn 3. So that's going to bring out the first caution. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go on board, or we're not on board, but we'll go on to the 58 and see exactly what set that one off. So here we are with the 58. Looks like it was just, was that net cut, or did it look like the 65 made a little bit of contact there? Oh, the end result though is that's just a lot of tore up cars right there in turn 3. Ouch. So as the caution is out, everybody's going to get a chance to go down there and hopefully get a new car. So we can see the 9 of Paul Servant is going to be our leader as they collect the pace car there coming out of turn 2. He does have some damage there to the left side of that number 9 machine. Behind him we see the 112 of Harry Tiller. He's going to duck down pit road. Hopefully that was the only big one that we're going to see tonight, because that was a lot of cars involved there. It's just further proof, though, that when you're stacked up here in the pack like this, and you're focused literally on just the spoiler of the car in front of you, you don't really pay too much of attention to the car on the outside of you unless you're trying to side draft with them or they're trying to side draft you. So 99% of your focus is staring straight in front of you. So it might have been just a little bit of mistiming or just a little bit of push up from the bottom line, or maybe the 58 came down a little bit from the top side.
I don't know, Art. When I just watched it in review there, it really looks like the 58 held his line, and the car below him, the 65,
might have drifted up a little bit.
Drifted up just a little bit and made contact.
And it was enough to send the 58 around, and unfortunately, with this being plate racing, these cars don't have stop on a dime brakes. And being bunched up like that, you guys saw the end result. We had a huge yard sale in turn 3, but undoubtedly a lot of drivers not really wanting to use that quick repair this early on in the race. But when something like that happens, you're pretty much along for the ride. We saw a lot of guys trying to check up. The back of the pack did a great job slowing down, but at the speeds that you're going, sometimes you do not have the option to be able to slow down, or you think that you've got the right way to get out of it, and you end up getting collected by a car coming back down the track, or somebody trying to fire the car back up and accidentally getting the nose of the car back up on the track. Now, the official series for the K&N cars all week has been at Talladega, and I've run a handful of those, and it's typical Talladega racing, and it's typical when the K&N goes there. It's basically a carb cup that counts for SR&I rating. Now, luckily, I've had some mid to backpack numbers and was able to get some strong finishes, so I got the I rating up. Took a little bit of safety hits, but that's fine with me. But we're still working our first caution here at Daytona. And it doesn't look like the damage is all too severe on the 9. I think it might just be a door donut. Now he's got a little bit of hood separation there on the right front. I can see that. You can see a little bit of scraping there behind the right front wheel, and the fender is pushed in just a touch. Let's take a look at the other side. Let's look at the left front. That left front is pushed in a little. You can see that crinkling there. Take a look at the left rear. Seems like he's all right there. And rounding off of the right rear. Right rear looks perfect. The left might have a little bit of damage to it, but other than that, I don't think it's going to be anything too much affecting, even though you can see the body lines have shifted on that number 9 Chevy Impala. So hopefully we see the lights on the pace car go out and we will get this thing back on its way as they do go out. So we will double up the field here and get them ready to restart. They will restart on lap 7. Quick run through of the top 10. Your leader right now, the 9 of Paul Servant, the 8 of Dana Osborne will restart in second. Daniel Harrington in the 82 third. The 112 of Harry Tiller 4th. The 00 of Dwayne Cooper 5th. Matthew Welsenbach in the 29 6th. Jason Rodebush in the 96 7th. The 78 of Daniel Jackson in 8th. Michael Coe in the 29th. And Lance Marsh in the 60 will round out the top 10. As the pace car makes its way into turn 3, it will be dipping down pit road, and we will get this race restarted. Alan, what do you think the inside line's going to do there with the 9 having that little bit of damage and him being the lead car?
It all depends on how bad the damage actually is, Art, and you know, if it's not terrible on the arrow, he may be able to get a good jump off the line and hold his own.
Well, the pace car is down. The green flag is out. Let's see what he can do here as we are back racing. Lap 7 here at Daytona 07 with the Cyber Racing Association Homes Now Series. So we see the 8 there of Dana Osborne wastes no time dropping down and filling in that hole, which is actually going to benefit the 9, because now he does have a clean car in front of him. He's going to be able to push, which is exactly what needs to be done. As we see now, the inside line is going to come down and do a little bit of side drafting there. That's the 112 of Harry Tiller. He's currently being scored in 3rd place. So you see the 00, looks like he's got a little bit of right rear damage to that spoiler on that machine, but he's tucked in behind the car in front of him, so that's not going to affect his car all that bad. I know a lot of these drivers were probably going to see some damage on their machines. That quick fix is your one lifeline here in this race, and I know a lot of drivers already had to use it, but there's a lot of them that are going to pay the gamble and run with a little bit of damage, and just in case we do see the big one happen again. But hopefully we've already seen it, and the rest of this will go green flag, as we do have 3 stages in this race, and lap 30 will be the end of stage 1, as we see, I believe that was a 60 getting a little bit of a wall there. So at the line, this is going to be a close one. The 82 of Daniel Harrington on the outside. He's going to lead that lap. And there's somebody who's no stranger to taking it 3 wide. I can see right there, as you can see that black car coming down. That's the 3 of Rodney Wofford. We've seen him plenty of times take it 3. Hell, I think we've even seen him take it 4 wide at Talladega.
Yeah, old Rodney, he's no stranger to this track, that's for sure.
No, he is not. I think he has more laps turned on super speedways than I have total laps turned in iRacing. See a little bit of shifting going on here, but for the most part, everybody seems to be timing everything just right. They're making their lane changes right when they should be, Nothing too drastic going on. The bottom line is actually able to really stick it down there pretty good and not drift up as much as we've seen in the past with this setup. Now, iRacing has rolled out several tire models, as well as the low, or as we call it, the no downforce package. But if there's any place on Earth that we're going to see what exactly the tire model and all that does, what better place than old Daytona, because this has got to be the bumpiest track that the stock cars run aside from Rockingham in the official series. And hell, even in the official series, all they run is pickup cups now at Daytona. So it's still a battle going on between the 8 and the 82. So you can see the front four are pretty much dead even as they head off into turn 3. Let's get some speeds going here. I see 203 there from the number 9. Our leader was at 200. We see Daniel Harrington there, 202. As well as Dwayne Cooper, 201. So I wasn't too far off. I figured about 202 to 205 here. And we're seeing there's 202 there, 203 out of the 29 of Matthew Welsenbach. These guys are hauling the mail. Let's see what a lap time is going to be around here. Seeing this almost makes you want to get back out on the track, doesn't it, Alan?
Nope.
I knew that was coming.
Boy, it's hard to say. I may have hung up my seat belts and helmet.
How do you hang up a seatbelt?
Cut it out of the car.
I would have hung the steering wheel up, not the seatbelt. That time by our lap was a 44.404.
Well, it's hard to hang a steering wheel up. It's no longer flat. You know, it's bent in horseshoe.
That's even better. Just make sure you hang it right side up so it's good luck. Don't let the luck fall out of it.
Oh yeah.
So the battle is still raging on here between the 8 of Dana Osborne and the 82 of Daniel Harrington. So you see there's more cars on the inside, but that is not necessarily a determining factor of who's going to be faster. Sometimes I've seen it, 1 or 2 cars, if they do it right, can actually pass an entire row of cars here at plate tracks. Now with the K&N being the fastest out of all these cars, that definitely doesn't surprise me, and also one of the best drafting cars here. It's almost to where you can see the win with these things. You know exactly where to stick it if you want the speed on the outside. And not only that, it just comes down to simple physics. If you're running that bottom line and you're dedicated to it, as we see the 82 drop down in front of the 8, if you run that bottom line, you're going to be a little bit more aggressive and you're going to chew your right side tires up a little bit more. Therefore, you're going to scrub some speed coming off corner exit, whereas coming into it on the high side, you're not using as much wheel input, you're not rubbing those tires as hard, you're going to get the run off of the corner. So coming in, bottom line will have the advantage, but usually 9 times out of 10, coming off the turn, we see the outside, or as Alan likes to call it, the upside line with the run. So we see now the 112 there of Harry Tiller. He's challenging for the lead as we see the 99 down on the apron there, slow. See who's going to get it at the line. Is it going to be Harry or is it going to be Daniel? That time it is going to be the 112 of Harry Tiller leading that lap. So we have 14 cars here in this pack. Now we're past halfway in the first segment, so we'll be coming up on our first segment finish here on lap 30. Still looking at the speeds here. Seems like they've slowed down just a couple miles an hour, but that's not, it's still very impressive to see a 202, 201, especially at this old bumpy track.
mean, your top 7 are pretty much nose to tail, door to door here. So if something's going to happen.
So you see the 99 there coming back out on track. Looks like he had to use a quick fix. That is going to be probably not the best time to pull out back onto the track, because he's definitely not going to have the draft. But that's the 99 of Thomas Barr. He's being scored at 1 lap down. Well, at the line, that time by, it's going to be the 82 of Daniel Harrington leading that lap. So we're working now lap 18 here. Let's go ahead and ride on board with the 9 car here for a lap or so.
The 8 car just jumped out of the bottom line up in front of the 112. That was a nice move by him.
So now is where you're really going to see things. You're going to watch how much steering input is in there and just exactly how bumpy this track is and what the draft does with these cars. Now, that wheel oscillating like that is not the driver's doing steering input. That is literally the force feedback from the wheel causing it to bounce. As we see here, we're going to go now to the gyro cam, which will show you the angle these cars are as they go through the turns here at 200 miles an hour.
Don't fall out of your seat, folks.
Yeah, make sure you're strapped in for this one. So we're now riding in the gyro of the 82.
I'm just kind of looking at the little bit of damage that the 9 has on his left side doors there. Just in front of the tire, it looks like the lower valence is flared out just a whisker past that left side tire.
Man, that gyro cam really does a great job of showing just how steep the banking really is here at Daytona. Talladega is not as bad, but Daytona has some pretty mean banking. As they take lap 21 here, we have the 112 of Harry Taylor. He's going to bail off of the top side and drop down in front of the 8 of Dana Osborne, so that'll give him lead car on the inside line and the race lead, as we see some heavy damage there to the right side. The car that they're going to be coming up and lapping.
And it looks like we're within, what, 9 laps of...
It'll be 9 laps this time by at the line to end stage 1 here. And at the line, it'll be the 112 being scored as your leader, so another lap led in the books for him. Almost looks like he's got a little bit of nose damage as well. So you see the lap car staying high. They'll force everybody 3 wide, but they'll make it through without a problem. And look who has snuck his way up into the top 3. The 3 of Rodney Wofford.
Nah, he didn't sneak. He's been on a steady march. Everybody knows he's coming.
It's not a matter of if, but when. As we see, this time at the line, it's gonna be, that was such a close one. It'll be the 96 of Jason Rodebush. We see, I believe that's the 1 of Artie Peterson Jr. He's going to dip to the high side and back out. Might be a little bit of overheating issues there. And believe it or not, folks, the 3 right there, he is battling to get back on the lead lap. He is past the leaders, and he is on the tail end of the lead lap. Right now, the 3 of Rodney Walford is being scored in 15th position, so he has managed to stick it out there in front of the leader, but now we see the 96 is going to drop down in front of him, which will put him back down, first car a lap down.
Well, if anybody here can race their way back, it's definitely Rodney.
And definitely now with the stage racing, that will benefit the 3 tremendously versus this being just one long green flag run here. Plus, it'll also allow all the cars that have either sustained some damage or have lost the draft, we'll just punch the field back up and let them back at it again. Now, there's a lot of teams as I'm looking here through TeamSpeak. Seeing we have Drive for Autism, and that consists of the 00, the 35, the 44, the 20, the 87, the 30. We've got Sim Nation Racing with Bobby Tinch and Thomas Abar. We got Excalibur Racing with the 65 of Marty Ray and Daniel Holloway in the 26. We got Radical Racing with the 29 of Matthew Welsenbach, 8 of Greg Thompson. As we see cars coming down pit road, 54 of Chris Akers and the 58 of James Peterson. And then we have Stewart Racing, which is going to consist of just the, let's see, look at his number real quick. The 5 of Roger Stewart. So that will shuffle some new things up here. We're seeing some different faces up here in the lead. Right now, it's going to be a battle between the 98 and the 12 as they come to the line. That time by, hand that lap to the 98 of Michael DeGroat. The outside line is paying off, and we're getting closer and closer to that end of stage 1 here as we see a little bit of 3-wide action there through turn 1 and 2. So you see the 82 of Daniel Harrington dropping back in. He is in 6th spot right now. And more cars diving off. It looks like they're going to try and get their pit stops in before we have the end of stage 1 in our competition caution. We got the 28, the 82 and the 29 on pit road right now. So right now, your race leader is being scored as the 12 of Michael Kazi Jr. See some damage there to the 78 Skull Machine. They're going to battle out. We see people coming down because this will be what would be the white flag, I do believe, here for the end of stage 1. So should be next time at the line, we will see the caution come out, and that will be the end of the first stage here at Daytona. A lot of drivers opting to go ahead and take their pit stop before the competition caution comes out. As we see the 82 grazing the wall a little bit there as he went high for the lead cars. Meanwhile, we're looking at the battle here to see who's going to come home with the stage 1 victory. Is it going to be the 12 or is it going to be the 112?
Caution, caution.
And that's the end of stage 1. Hand stage 1 win over to the 12 of Michael Kazi Jr. Oh, we see some smoke there. That's the 3 of Rodney Walford. And we're seeing some more smoke. Somebody is grilling as they come out onto the backstretch. See the 12 there coming back up to the grass, and holy crap, who gave Brett Bodine some nitrous? So we see our lead pack right there as they have caught the pace car on the backstretch going into 3. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Alan, but I think Rodney had to use his quick fix already, and judging from what I saw there, it looked like that 3 machine was pretty tore up.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. Yeah, I think he got caught up in that first wreck early on, so I believe he's out of quick repair.
As we see the race leaders coming down pit road. We're going to watch here from the pit exit camera. Actually, we'll switch to this one first because this is actually a better camera. See the 112's in this box. We'll give you a full round of what the pit stop times were here as they're completed and we get it back together.
Apparently the I think it's the 66 of
Bobby Tinch
ran out of fuel. Unfortunate for him.
We see the 58 there of James Peterson. Looks like he overshot his box a little bit. So we will go back to the field here. And while we are under caution here, we are going to go ahead and take a very quick commercial break, but we will return with the action here at Daytona as we get ready to sort them up and start the second stage here. All right, and we are back live here at Daytona International Speedway. So, quick run through here of, let's go the top 20 here. Out front, we have the 87 of Raymond Rittenhauer being scored as your leader. Second goes to the 12 of Michael Cozy Jr. The 112 of Harry Tiller in third. The 96 of Jason Rodebush fourth. Earl Arts Jr. in the 61, 5th. Lance Marsh in the 66th. Paul Severn in the 9 will be your 7th place car. Daniel Holloway in the 26th, 8th. Gregory Thompson in the 88 will be your 9th place car. And Rick Seabrands in the 2 will round out the top 10. Looking a little further back, we have the 30 of Kevin Hash in 11th. 00 Dwayne Cooper 12th. David Anderson in the 44, 13th. Michael DeGroat in the 98, 14th. Dana Osborne in the 8, 15th. Matthew Welsenbach, we're going to see things changing around a little bit. The 82 Daniel Harrington being scored now in 16th. Bobby Tinch in the 66, 17th. Matthew Welsenbach in the 29, 18th. Jim Peterson in the 58, 19th. And Daniel Jackson in the 78 will round out the top 20. Now, we're no stranger here to seeing that 87 out front as he's going to dive down pit road here. That will hand the lead back over to the 12 of Michael Cozy Jr. As the lights are out on the pace car, so we're going to get this field bunched up here and get them restarted and start stage 2. We see the 112 there heating his tires up a little bit. As the entire field's starting to bunch up here on the backstretch, getting them ready to restart this race. As always, what better way to do it than to do it in a crank it up style. So we're going to get this one loud and proud as it takes them roughly about 2 laps to get these cars wound up to full speed. You guys are going to be along for all the action and the noise, so unless there's a wreck, we are going to be silent here as soon as the pace car drops down pit road and we take the green flag here. Pace car drops down. Green flag is out. Here we go. Crank it up style. All right, so there we go. We're back out of crank it up as we see some 3-wide action going on up here at the front. We got the 61, and I believe that's the 20 behind him trying to work on that outside line. We've got the 12 stuck in the center along with the 112. I believe we also have the 80. Oh, that's the 20 right there. That's Michael Coe. And we see the 82 of, I believe that's the 82 down on the bottom lane. As I said, they sorted it out. It's the 98. There we go. But this time at the line, it'll be the 96 of Jason Roadbush leading that lap. Meanwhile, on the outside, Harry Tiller is not going to go down without a fight here, as he's going to continue to try and work that outside line, as he was not afraid once they went 3 wide to stay hammered down, which is always a good sign of either good racecraft or, in my case, just getting lucky. At the line that time, it'll be the 112 of Harry Tiller leading that lap. He's being pushed by the 12 of Michael Cozy Jr. Behind him, we have the 20 of Michael Coe. So these guys are doing a really, really good job. Not a lot of rattlesnaking as we normally see here at a plate track. Doing a very good job as we see the 112 and the 12. Nice power move there from the outside line down to the inside. That will give them first and second. See a little pack back there of 3 cars. If they would get in a straight line, they could probably catch up. Or maybe they're doing it on purpose to try and stay back if there's going to be something happening up here with the lead pack.
There's 7 cars back there in that small pack. They're kind of just dragging the brake a little bit and staying in the backfield.
And honestly, with as much racing as there is still left to do, we have 90 laps scheduled, 3 segments. I know it shows 100, but it's actually only 90 laps, so still a lot of racing here to go. Maybe they're playing the conservative role. They're just going to sit back there, and if something does happen, they can take advantage of it and have that extra stopping distance, and hopefully come out on top. As we're going to take lap 40. Oh, we got a big wreck on the backstretch.
Whoa,
big wreck. That's the
20
96 of Jason Roadbush. He's continuing to. That looks like Rusty Wallace's flip at Talladega there. So, wow, that was the big one has happened again here in stage 2. Let's go ahead and we're going to ride. Do we dare ride on board in the gyro cam with the 96? Oh my God, look at the gyro cam here. Wow. As he's still flipping, and then he finally lands upright.
That's a pretty insane wreck.
We're also going to get one from the 82 here. We can see this might be aftermath. Yeah, this is definitely going to be aftermath, so we're going to back it up a little bit more. We're going to try and figure out what brought that one up. Because here we see them now all in a pack as we're looking at the helicopter view. Let's see what brought that wreck out. So we're seeing them come out through turn 2 onto the backstretch here. 12 gets a run, and it looks like, oh, there's the thing that you don't, oh, there's simultaneous that happened too, wow. The 12 got into the back there, and wow, that just brought out a lot of wrecked cars there on the backstretch. As you can see, the 96 flipping and all that. Wow, that was insane. So that's the second big one we've seen tonight. We see heavy damage there on the left front of our current race leader, the 61 of Earl Arts Jr. Now that one right there had to have taken out a lot of cars that had already burned their quick repair in the early lap 2 accident that was just as violent, if not, I think this one might have been a little bit more violent. That ride that the 96 went for, that was so reminiscent of when Rusty Wallace did the, God, how many flips did he do down the backstretch of Talladega? Or when he crossed the line when Earnhardt turned him.
Yeah, the 112 went for a pretty good ride there as well.
I think it was interesting, though, that at the exact same time we saw the contact with the 12 and the 112 car, 2 other cars, the 44 and another car had gotten together, and it was a sinker spin. So it seems that must have been 2 separate cars that had just gotten in the wrong spot and just gave the bump. I think maybe if it hadn't happened right up at the lead and slightly back from there, we wouldn't have seen as much of the chaos, but it was definitely weird. And seeing that second view from the helicopter where they both just, it was almost like it was synchronized swimming on a racetrack, but nonetheless, a lot of cars damaged in that one. But I think by far the Goodies BC Headache Powder award goes to the 96 of Jason Roadbush, because he went for one hell of a ride there on the backstretch. That or he's going to need a big-ass box of Goodies BC Headache Powder. Let's see what the field stacks out right here. As the lights are on the pace car, we're going to do a quick run through here of the top 10. Out front, it is the 61 of Earl Arts Jr., but he has got some heavy damage to that machine right there. You can see the wheel is actually cambered in. He is being scored as your race leader. Outside, first car, row 2, will be the 9 of Paul Servant. 66 of Bobby Tinch will restart third. The 26 of Daniel Holloway fourth. 00 of Dwayne Cooper fifth. The 12 of Michael Cuzzy Jr. sixth. Michael DeGroat in the 98 seventh. Rick Seabrands eighth. Lance Marsh ninth, and the 88 of Gregory Thompson is going to round out the top 10 as the pace car is making its way down the backstretch. We're less than half a lap away from restarting this race on lap 45. As they get ready here to stack up, I see a lot of cars with, at least at the minimum, door donuts and crinkled fenders, but that might actually play out to an advantage, seeing how there's several damaged cars. The pace car dives off.
Green flag.
Green flag is out, and once again, what better way to go than to crank it up? Ooh, you see a car forced down the apron there. Be the 2 of Rick Seabrands. All right, so here as they come to take lap 47, it will be the 26 of Daniel Holloway leading that lap in the Save the Tatas Impala.
So just over halfway here, finishing up on the race, and I mean, you've got two distinct groups here. You got that front pack that's just running door to door, bumper to bumper, very little gap, and then back there in the backside, you've got a handful of cars that are just kind of strung out, not really running together, not really pushing, but they are going to end up catching that front pack.
The thing that I'm noticing the most is look at the back of that 78 car. That spoiler, that's not a wedgie. He got a Melvin out of that one, and he's still able to hold the draft as long as he keeps his nose behind the car in front of him, and he's got a car behind him. That's all that damage on the rear of that car is not slowing the outside line up. That just goes to show how amazing these K&N cars perform in the draft.
Yeah, he'll do all right until he loses the draft. Once he loses the draft, that thing's going to be a parachute.
It's going to be like pulling a parachute on a dragster after you just cross the quarter-mile line if he loses that draft. And I think as a driver, if I see that coming up and I'm on the outside lane, I'm probably going to switch lanes and try and get around that. As we see, he is starting to fall off a little bit there. He still is on the tail end, but you can see that those three cars are starting to get a little bit of distance.
Yeah, he needs to drive that car down into a hole and get stuck in between a couple of drivers. There he goes, down into the low line.
Yeah, that's exactly what that car needs. So you see, looking a little bit towards the rear of the pack there, the 98, he's going to drop down to the bottom line as well. Behind him, we have the 20 of Michael Coe. That is 11th and 12th right there. So the 78, despite all that damage, he is still sitting in 8th position. As they come to the line, once again, it'll be the 26 of Daniel Holloway leading that lap. As it's 11 laps to go until we close out stage 2 here. So you see there the 98 and the 20 working together. Right now we see the 82 of Daniel Harrington. He is right there tucked up behind the 78. As we see the 78 is starting to fall. No, he's still holding on 8th place right now, but now he's going to go up to the top side. 82 of Harrington's going to go with him. Behind them, we have the 60 of Lance Marsh, the 98 of Michael DeGroat, and the 20 of Michael Coe. So you see the 2 of Rick Seabrans there. He's going to bail off the top line and drop down to the inside as they go through 3 and 4.
You know, the 9 car as well has a pretty good cave in on his spoiler. It's not as drastic as the 78, but it is still banged in there pretty good.
Yep, you can see it right there. He does have a little bit of a wedgie there. Not exactly as much of a parachute as the 78, but still, that's got to be affecting things just a little bit. But at least we see that the damage that he had taken earlier was repaired. Unfortunately for him, he sustained a little bit more. As we can see some on the right side, he's going to jump up to the outside line. Meanwhile, up front, power move on the outside line by the 78 and the 12. So there, once again, this just speaks for the K&N car. That 78, the ass end of that car is 7 shades of screwed up, and he is literally sitting right now in 3rd spot. And score that lap to the 12 of Michael Cozy. On the inside, we've got the 88 of Gregory Thompson. I thought I had seen it all before. Who would have thought that a car with that much rear spoiler damage could be sitting in the top 3 here.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see that spoiler is almost standing straight up and down off the back deck lid. I mean, still toward a hell, but...
Hell, I can see it where his fuel cell starts back there. It's pushed in so bad. If you look right there, you can see his trailing arm and the fuel cell. So for him to still be up there in the first 2 rows, that is just absolutely phenomenal.
It's unheard of, but it is.
As we see now, the inside line is going to be the favored one. As we got Rick Seabrands leading the charge there. The 88 of Gregory Thompson behind him, and then the 26 of Daniel Holloway, followed by the 66 of Bobby Tinch, and then the 65 of Marty Ray. As they come to the line this time, it should be a no-brainer that Rick Seabrands will lead this one. And he'll do so by about a half a car length, a little bit more. I think somebody might actually put some Red Bull in the 78th gas tank, because I mean, I still cannot get over the fact that he has that much damage to the rear of that car, and he is still charging along on that outside line.
He's got some Michael Waltrip racing fuel in that Skull Bandit rig.
Or maybe he's got Harry Gant secretly behind the wheel. So nothing has changed on the inside line. Everybody is still playing by the rules. Outside line, not much has changed. So you see a little bit of rattlesnaking going on before the corner there. Sometimes you got to peek the car down, not only just to cool it, just to see where the car in front of you is going to drop into the corner at, so you don't accidentally get on that apron and go for a ride and need some Mighty Mend It to fix that car.
200-mile-an-hour tape.
You know what they say about duct tape? If you can't duck it, then yep. Speaking of speeds, funny you should say that. Let's look at our speeds here. We see the 12 at 202, the 88 at 203, 204. So these guys are still over 200 miles an hour. As they come to the line again, once again, no contest. It will be the 2 of Rick Seabrands leading another lap here. As the 12 crosses the line at 200 miles an hour.
You know, a lot of these guys have been running this car for long enough. They know that the car is not a bump drafting style of draft. It is a push up and follow.
If anything, you can give them a decent shot on the backstretch, but like you said, most of these guys have run this car for so long, and they know that there is a spot that there's a go and a definite no-go on both sides of that car. And it's all about, if you're going to give the car in front of you a shot, making sure that they know it, or at least that you're lined up. As we see right there, the 65 and the 66. 65 had to check up a little bit there because the 66 had to slow up a little, so that could have been a lot worse. As we see, the 65 is falling off a little, but the 9 is going to drop in behind him and push him back up there. It's all about timing the bump right and making sure that you have those cars lined up as close as possible, because they may not look as rounded as they actually are, but that car is a spade shovel. We are 3 wide up here at the front. The 2, the 88, and the 12, they're going to back down to 2 wide.
The 26 just about filled his depends.
Just about. So once again, at the line, Rick Seabrands in the 2 is going to be scored as the leader. Oh, we got a caution on the track.
You doing there, bud?
That actually was not a spin. That is the end of stage 2. So give stage 2 win to this number 2 of Rick Seabrands. That's the only downfall sometimes about having your spotter in your headset, because he'll say something completely off the wall crazy, and especially if you have the Jimmy Johnson cuss pack like I do. So there's a lot of interesting things that get said that aren't always 100% accurate or relevant to what's going on the track here. These guys did a great job after the big one early in stage 2, knocking out some great green flag laps there. And the field is going to catch the pace car here on the backstretch. We see that Jack Daniels number 2 car. That almost makes me think of our other broadcasting partner, Mike Majors. That's his number over in Die Hard, and he usually runs the Jack Daniels whenever he's in the Mustang.
So yeah, it looks like we're going to have our next 30-lap segment to conclude the race and see who pulls out the win.
As I'm sure now we're going to see, hopefully, final pit stops unless we see another caution. This should be the last time these cars come down pit road.
And this is where I'm going to use my quick fix if I have one left and have any damage.
You ain't kidding about that.
Because I want that car ready to rock and roll for the end. Well, maybe not roll, but...
Yeah, we don't want to see roll. We already saw that earlier. The 96 definitely gets the trophy for most rolling. I think he might have been listening to like some MC Escher or something, because he was going up the stairs and going down the stairs and going up the sideways stairs on that one. All right, folks, while we are under the caution here, we are going to take another quick commercial break here and return with the action.
All right, looks like everybody is pretty much got their pit stops wrapped up here. We may have a couple more making a second stop. But as it looks right now, most of our pit times are completed. We had a couple of quick stops, you know. We got Daniel Harrington with a 15.7, Michael Cossey Jr. with a 7.7, so he probably took fuel only or fuel in 2 tires. Bobby Tinch in the 66, he got a 7.4.
I think we're going to see a lot of fuel and 2 tire stops here.
Yeah, it's there's a handful, but not as many as I had expected. there's a lot of guys that looks like they may have done a lot of repairs.
Well, hopefully we do not see a third big one here in the closing stage. This is going to be, all these cars are battling for the Fast 15, as when they go into the playoffs and all that, you've got to be up there and consistent. And we all know the one thing that you can always expect at a plate track is there to be the big one. So we see the lights are out on the pace car, so we're going to double the field back up and get them ready to kick off the third and final stage here at Daytona 07 with the Cyber Racing Series, Cyber Racing Association Homes Now Series. Give me about another week to sit there and practice that one. I'll be right on point with it. Quick run through out front, the 12 of Michael Cozy Jr. Starting second again will be Bobby Tinch, Rick Seabrands third, Jim Peterson fourth, Gregory Thompson fifth, Marty Ray sixth. Actually, we're going to see that change around a little bit. The 9 of Paul Servant sixth, Marty Ray seventh, Daniel Jackson eighth, Kevin Hash ninth, and Raymond Rittenhauer will round out the top 10 as we get ready to let him go here on the final stage of the race. Pace car makes its way around 3 and 4. It will duck down pit lane, and we will get this last segment here going. And hopefully they can run this one green flag the entire way. Don't want to jinx anything.
I'm still trying to get confirmation on where the All-Star is for next week.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag is back out. As always, crank it up, restart. This beautiful shot of him here coming off of turn 4. So the outside line right now is the prevailing line. Is once again Rick Seabrands, and that too is leading the charge. He's got the 66 of Bobby Tinch behind him. Meanwhile, on the inside, we have the 12 of Michael Cozy being pushed by the 88 of Gregory Thompson. I think now is when we're going to see who's going to rise to the top, who's going to work together, because I know we've got several teammates. So obviously teammates are going to want to stack up with each other if they all have cars that are either equally damaged or clean cars. But now is not necessarily just yet go time. I would probably wait till about, if I'm sitting anywhere within this first 5 rows, I would probably wait till about maybe 10 laps to go before I started to make a move, because we all know what happens when we get on the last lap. It's every man for himself, even if you are teammates. As you can see right there, the 66 is absolutely glued to the rear bumper of that too. And just a quick heads up, next week we will be covering the All-Star race. It will be at Talladega Superspeedway. But the one determining factor in that one yet is the drivers have to vote on which vehicle they're going to be running. So it should be fun. It would be awesome to probably see the trucks at Talladega. Because we've seen the K&Ns, or maybe even the Xfinities or the Gen 6s. As much as I love watching these K&N cars, because they just absolutely, hands down, are just draft beasts. Be different and interesting to see them run something that we're not exactly as familiar as watching Cyber run here. But once again, that outside line is going to be the prevailing line at the line. That's a lot of lines in one sentence.
And hopefully nobody ends up in that upside down line.
Yeah, that is the line that I don't mind being in the upside line, but not the upside down line. Because that puts you at the end of the line. I think right here we are seeing teamwork at its best right now. The front four have actually opened up a little bit of a gap to fifth and back. And they seem to be consistently holding it, if not pulling it a little bit lap by lap. But once again, it's going to be the two. The work between Seabrands and Tinch, you cannot pass that off as just luck. That is skill right there. The way that 66, right there sticking his nose out through the corner to breathe the car, he can glue his nose right to that Yeti TV panel of the 2 car, shove him down the backstretch, cool it off again in the corners, and push the living daylights out of him across the line. And he's done that lap after lap after lap. As right now we see the inside's got a little bit going, but as they come off the corner, you're going to see that outside is going to develop the run. This time it might be a little bit closer, and we might see the 12 get it, and that time it will be the 12 who will lead the lap here. So it's going to be 20 laps to go in actuality. Now we're starting to see the people that really are in it to win it making their way up.
And the other thing that allows it's helping that 2 and 66 out is that when he does duck out to breathe that car just a little bit through the corners like that, it allows him to really lay off the back of the 2 and not run the risk of actually running up on him and turning him.
As we see the 88 there, he's down low and slow on the apron. Once again at the line though, it will be the 12 leading that lap. But the outside line is not going down without a fight here tonight. I couldn't think of a better league to be sitting here and watching and calling out on a plate track other than Cyber. These guys they've got it in their blood. They know 2 things. Push that pedal through the floor and turn the car left. That's all you really need to do here at a plate track, and these guys definitely demonstrate that they know how to lay the wood to it and keep these cars going. As you can tell by this front 4 here, they're doing an absolutely phenomenal job controlling the inside and the outside lane, even though there's no contest to it. So we see the 87 of Raymond Rittenauer. He's making his way into the picture now. Coming along with the 30 of Kevin Hash. Be interesting to see when these guys get up there if they're going to start splitting off, because we also see the 9 He's making his way back up as well as the 29. So now we've got the cars coming up. It's still going to be 4-on-4 here on the front as we see two of them going to go to the upper line, almost that upside line. They're around you two along now. We're going to have two on the upper line and two on the low line, and we've got a lap car up on the high side here as they go into turn 3, so they'll take it 3 wide to pass.
And that lap down car happens to be the...
Oh, he gets in the wall too.
Into the wall.
You were thinking about him, weren't you? That time at the line, score the number 2 of Rick Seabrands as the lap leader, but we all know there's only one lap in this race that counts, and that's the last one. We see a heavily damaged 88. He's going to ride around on the apron to salvage a finish here. Once again, it will be the 2 leading that lap as we are definitely winding it down here. We have 14 laps to go. And once again, the reason you're seeing 24 is in the event that we have multiple green, white checkers. So the scoring, the results is not going to be accurate, but we'll definitely get the top 3 for sure. Because in order for it to come out the right way, they would have to technically run all 100 laps. There's just a 10-lap buffer in there in the event that we go into overtime. So we see the 2 could have bailed on the 66, but as much as they have worked together, I don't think I would want to burn that bridge just yet as we see the... Oh, the 66 got into the 2. Big wreck.
Talk me through your lap one time real quick.
Looks like it's only going to be 3 cars, the 78, the 2, and the 66. So that unfortunately might do it for the 2 of Rick Seabrands as we see other cars. Oh, we see... Oh, the 00 there. Dwayne Cooper getting very lucky. The 2 is able to reset fast enough, otherwise Dwayne was going to be in for a world of hurt there. But we are going to go ahead and go back and look at that from the 66 of Bobby Tinch. So this will be coming up to it. Going to go to the helicopter cam here. Now the 66 second car there on the outside line. They're making their way through turns 1 and 2. You can see he's a little bit high. Looks like he might have just got a little too close there, and that's when, oh wow, he went for a nice ride upside down, and wow, he's doing some flipping too, so ouch. Oh, and then he stuffs it in the inside wall. You see the 78 involved there. He had locked it down. But I think the one that got the worst out of that one would definitely be the 2 car. So as we see everybody here coming down pit road, we see a pit fake there by the 12. And like Alan just said, it looks like the 66 might have gotten a little bit of an aero push because of the 9 car. Couldn't get backed out of it enough, and that's what sent the 2 up the track as we see some wave bys going around. As soon as we get the scoring all up to date here, we'll give you a run through of the top 10. as everybody catches up here to the pace car on the backstretch. Do believe this should sort out the top 10. So right now, out front leading it is the 12 of Michael Cozy Jr., Marty Ray in the 65 second, Paul Servant in the 9 third, the 29 of Matthew Welsenbach fourth, Kevin Hash in the 35th, Raymond Rittenhauer in the 87 sixth, the 1 of Artie Peterson Jr. 7th, Daniel Harrington in the 82 8th, the 58 of Jim Peterson 9th, and Michael DeGroat in the 98 is going to round out the top 10. As it is going to come down to a handful of laps here. So hopefully we see the lights on the pace car go out this time by, and we can finish this one under a green flag. Well, the good news there is we see the 2 of Rick Seabrand's. He had not used this quick repair, so he's got a fresh machine. Got the wave by, and he is going to race back around to catch up to the tail end of the field here. So it might not be over for the 2 car yet. The lights on the pace car are out. They're going to double them back up again here. Hopefully we will restart for the last time, as it is going to be... It's 10 laps to go now. We're going to restart with 9 laps remaining. All right, now it's definitely going to be go time, but at the same side, this is probably when we're going to see some risky moves made, but would you do any different? I'm going to pull out a James Brownism. If there's a hole, I'm going to fill it. Or another one of his famous ones, I'm going to win this thing.
I guess one of the new rules this year is that within 10 laps to go, if you cause a caution, you are parked for the remainder of the race.
That is correct. So as we get the cameras all fired up, we're going to do our final, hopefully final restart. I've got my fingers, my toes, anything that I can cross, crossed. So hopefully we run this thing out green. Pace car gets ready to drop off, and we've got another crank it up restart.
Green flag.
Oh, that was a power move there. The 65 and the 29 were not playing that time. At the line that time, it's going to be the 29 of Matthew Welsenbach leading that one. But awesome power move there. We see the 87 there of Raymond Rittenhauer. We got the 65 of Marty Ray. The 12 of Michael Cuzzy Jr. That's going to be the first two cars on the inside. Then you've got Welsenbach and Rittenhauer, the first two cars on the outside. And directly behind them, the 82 of Daniel Harrington. So there's some fast guys there on the outside line. Oh, looks like we had a car on the wall there. Might have been lag. That is, he's blinking there. He's having connection issues. But at the line, once again, it'll be the 29 of Matthew Welsenbach leading another lap here as they're quickly coming to a close here. Now is definitely the time. If you've got a move or if you've got a lucky rabbit's foot, lay it out on the dash and let it roll. As we see the 12 glued to the back of the 65 there. That outside line, though, is formed up, and it is a-coming. Let's see if the outside can do it again as they come off turn 4 across the stripe here. Once again, it'll be the 29. The oops are coming down in. That car that... Trying to see what number it is that's having the connection issues. It looked like he just bottle rocketed up into the sky. That looked like the Talladega glitch that you can do with the open gate there at just past the line. So we see the 87 there getting a little bit of side draft off the 65. He's got the 82, the 98, the 26, and the 20 behind him. Now is when these guys have to be careful, but at the same time, they've got to run 120% here.
Yeah, but they got to be careful coming down on that side draft. If they tap, it could be all over but the crying.
And look at this. The outside line, the inside line decided they want to go on the outside. There's only two cars up front right now with a good gap going back to the next three cars that are going to have to come up there, and we see that they're going to fall out even more. So right now, that outside line has definitely got the momentum, and they're going to have the advantage. But right now, we still see the 65 and the 12 hanging on as they're able to stay door to door with the 29 and the 87 here as we're coming to 4 laps to go.
As the inside line starts to reform with the 20 and the 35 dropping down in front of that 9 car. The 9 car is going to move up to the outside.
Right now, it's still anybody's ball game right here. Anybody inside the top 10, if they can shake and bake here, they can get it done as we see a lot of switching going on here.
A whole lot of moving and shaking.
I think the first 5 cars, though, on the outside, they are dedicated and committed to staying up there because they know that if they stay streamlined together, that they're always going to have the advantage over shifting. Because anytime that you move those cars out of the line, it takes away some of that air and it allows the other line to catch up. The white flag is out, so this lap right here is going to be the decider. Will it be the 65 of Marty Ray, or will it be the 29 of Matthew Welsenbach who brings home the checkered flag here? Oh, we set them checking up and we see some wrecking going on. Oh, we got a big wreck. Big wreck, so the race is not done yet. We're going to go into overtime here. Big wreck. We'll see who got that one going. I think that might have been, was it the 12? We're going to take a look at it from the 12's point of view, and we're going to look at it from the helicopter and see what happens here. Here we see the 29 making a little bit of contact with the 65. The 87 gets pinched to the inside. 87 comes down, and unfortunately up the hill goes the 12, and holy crap, the 29, he goes for a wild ride. So that right there was just not enough real estate and too many cars trying to fill the spots. We see the 00 there hard to the inside wall as well, so that's going to hurt. But we are not done with this race yet, as we are going to have to go into green-white checker. So we're going to line them back up here. Hopefully the 87, Raymond Rittenhauer, didn't sustain any damage during that. Saw a lot of cars very tweaked after that one. Looking at the 65, he's in the good because he was not directly involved in that one, as well as the 98. And it's looking right now that the 87 is all right. All right, an official word from the tower. Since the tower had already called white flag, and that happened in turn 3, that was past the overtime line, so that is actually going to do, that's going to call the race right there. So your race winner is going to be the 65 of Marty Ray. We're going to have the 87 of Raymond Rittenhauer in second, and the 98 of Michael DeGroat in third. Now that overtime line is extremely important, and usually it's located halfway down the backstretch. And since that wreck did happen in turns 3 and 4, they were already past the overtime line, so that eliminates the green-white checker. Now had they wrecked coming out of turns 1 and 2, that would have set us up for a green-white checkered and overtime. But seeing how it was white flag and they made it more than half a lap, that will officially finish the race as they cross the stripe right there. That is your race winner, the 65 of Marty Ray. As we let things settle down here, we're going to get our top 3 down in the waiting room, the green room. The champagne bottles ready to go, especially for the 65. I'll pay no attention to the scoring board up there because due to the fact that we have those extra laps set in there, it's not going to accurately give us the final results. We're going to bring in our third place finisher, the 87 of Raymond Rittenhauer. All right, Raymond, that was one hell of a finish there. It had to have been a very, very scary view from your point coming there on the white flag. Walk us through the last couple laps there of the race.
Yeah, it was pretty wild there. Kind of feel bad for Matt. I was pushing him. I was going to stay behind him and try to push him to the win there, but it looks like Marty come up a little bit and bumped him out of the way. Didn't have anywhere to go but the middle, and it kind of got jammed up.
We hate to see it finish under caution, but only the strongest do survive. And with you finishing third, it's all about making that fast 15. So third place, we've seen you back in the previous seasons that we have covered, we know that you're a front runner. You've got the speed, you've got the skill, you've got the ability to be out there. Do you think that anything would have played out different had we stayed green flag?
We were going to try to get up there. I was pushing Matt. I was going to try to hopefully he would have went to the inside and we'd have had a chance on the outside there, but unfortunately it ended up yellow.
Well, that is the nature of the beast here at the plate tracks, but congratulations on your third place finish here tonight, and we will see you next week during the All-Star race.
All right, thank you.
That was our third place finisher, the one and only Raymond Rittenhauer. Now we'll bring in our second place finisher, the 98 of Michael DeGroat. All right, Michael, that was definitely one hell of a finish. We hate to see him end under yellow, but talk us through those last couple of sets of laps there, and especially that big wreck that happened there on the last lap.
Yeah, this is my first race with these guys, so I'm pretty excited about finishing up here at front. My goal was just to finish clean, maybe get to top 10, and yeah, there at the end, I hated to see guys go around, but sort of squeezed through the middle and was able to get through clean, and
Green flag.
It seemed to be indicative that there was one big one for every one of the three stages, and I think as a driver, I would have liked to have seen that happen a little bit early on versus the white flag lap, but nonetheless, that's outstanding for your first race with the league, bringing it home second, and next week as we move into the All-Star race, that should help you with getting into the Fast 15 because you've got to race your way into that. So I know you guys have to come on a vote as to what vehicle you're going to be racing at Talladega next week, but what are your thoughts about that as we move forward to Talladega, which is probably undoubtedly the world's home of speed?
Yeah, I love Talladega. As far as the cars go at Talladega, I'm not too picky. I like the trucks, I like the B cars, but no, I'm excited. It's a good start for me, and I'm going to have some fun.
Oh, once again, congratulations on a very strong finish, especially with it being your first race with the league. Hopefully there's many, many more, and we get to interview you throughout the season.
I appreciate it a bunch.
That was our second place finisher, and hell, how can you top that? Your first race with the league, and you come home second.
You know, it was luck on his part. I mean, he had the car in the right place at the right time when everything unfolded, so definitely worked out to his favor.
And now the moment that we're all waiting for, let's bring in our race winner, the 65 of Marty Ray. All right, Marty, you sealed the deal. You brought her home in first place. I know it had to have been a little bit scary there on the last lap, seeing everything that unfolded there, but walk us through the last couple laps there of the race.
It was really tight racing. I think I might have gotten a little bit wide and came up on the 29. I didn't realize that till I just watched the replay right now. So, you know, this race is under review. I mean, nothing's really official right now, but it was a heck of a race all the way through.
Well, we did definitely see that there was one thing that seemed to coincide with each other. 3 stages, 3 big ones. And as a driver, I know you'd probably prefer to see the big one happen during the beginning and be able to race out at the end. But since it was called on the last lap and you guys passed the overtime line, that made it official. So a win is a win regardless. And if the review doesn't change, you walk out of here man on top. And as we move next week to the All-Star race at Talladega, which is going to be a driver vote on which vehicle you guys are going to be running, how do you feel about Talladega next week?
Oh, I'm ready. I love that track. All these guys are real competitive, so it should be a fun race.
All right, well, once again, congratulations on the winners. Is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Holmes Now and Cyber Racing Association for putting this on for us. We always appreciate all the help from everyone, and obviously you guys for broadcasting this.
It's our pleasure to be back. It's been a long time coming. We absolutely love watching you guys race it out, and there's a lot of new faces since the last time we've been around, but it definitely didn't change the way that the racing went here. You guys put on one hell of a show. You guys have got to be probably the best super speedway racing league, and we look forward to hopefully interviewing you again in Victory Lane next week at the All-Star race.
Thanks. Look forward to it myself.
Up here. And now before we close the show out, we're going to bring in the league owner, Dwayne, for some final words.
What?
Yeah, we just wanted some final words on the race there. I was a little concerned because I saw you hit that inside wall where the not safer barrier is. You all right?
Oh yeah, I'm just rattled some reins.
Well, at least it wasn't Alan because there's nothing in there, so that'd be a little bit harder of a hit. What do you think of the race? And other than the one thing that we seem to have in common, that in each stage there was one big one.
Yeah, that's stage racing though, guys. Race hard toward that end and get them points. I mean, you think about it, 10 points bonus adds up.
Now, word is that the race is under review, so is there any chance that we might see the winner change on this one?
It would take an awful lot to actually change the winner. There's a possibility it could be encumbered, but I don't want to say anything because I haven't looked at it. I don't know what happened up front. I don't know if it was hard racing or what, you know, so I don't want to say anything. Marty's a good driver. Matt's a good driver, and, you know, without looking at the replay, I don't want to down somebody's win.
Now, from up here, we had a good view of it. It just looked like he got maybe a little bit tight in the corner and washed up a little bit, and then the 3 wide behind it just, chaos is going to ensue. Its last lap, you basically have no friends. We all know the nature of the beast of play track racing, and especially when that white flag comes out, you have no friends, even if it's your best friend in the world. But once again, you guys never failed to put on one hell of a show. Incredible speeds at this bumpy ass old track. You guys are managing to run right around 205, I think was about the top speed. And next week when we go to Talladega, I'm expecting to see some maybe 206s, depending on what car we're in, because I know it is a driver vote.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping they go with K&N. I like them at Talladega, but the trucks are also, you know, pretty fast. I don't know. Maybe I can persuade them to go my way. That way I can win that damn thing.
I think the one thing you gotta do is get Alan to stop talking to you, because it seems like every time he does it, something happens to you.
Yeah, it happens. Alan don't like me. He's not a jinxie little fucker.
I don't do it on purpose.
Well, it sure as hell times out the right way.
Yeah, I'm sure. You know, I kind of feel bad. Our league lost its affirmative action tonight when I had to remove the British guy.
I was wondering what happened to the 112 car. But
he's a good guy. He's just kind of aggressive for what we like to run here.
Any final words before we send this one off in the books and move on to the All-Star race next week?
No, the All-Star race can be a lot of fun. I mean, we don't have dominating. I mean, our team, Drive for Autism, is a top team, and we're maintained 3rd and 4th tonight. But, I mean, we haven't had any multiple winners in a while going back to last season. So it's really nice to see some guys up front that's, I don't want to say not normally there, but, you know, instead of seeing the same guys up front all the time, I know you're on the Race Fan Racing jock. But
Hey. No. What I saw tonight was a perfect example of what we see in the real life NASCAR. That it was go time and there was take it easy time, and it seemed that everybody kept a level head for the most part versus just knowing that you got to be there on the last lap. They knew that they had stages that were in there, and it made for a lot better racing. It grouped the field back up, especially all the cars that were damaged. They were able to get back around all the damaged cars, and I can hop off of, since there is no DHI anymore, I can hop off of that bandwagon. But hopefully as the season goes on further and further, we'll see a lot of different winners going throughout it, which is always a good thing. But I'm really excited to be back on board with you guys. It was a long time in the coming and the making of it, and it's basically a thanks to you and the 58 of Jim Peterson for bringing us back on board.
Yeah, you got to thank our sponsor at Homes Now. They come on board, and Jim's a good guy. You know, I like Jim. I was on his team last year, and, you know, he's a good guy. And what a lot of people don't realize, Art, is that track is hell to drive.
Oh, it is.
You know, you are bumping around. You can't side draft like you can at the regular one. It is really, you know, you got to watch what the guy's doing below you. You got to maintain yours and try to keep it. That is really the hardest super speedway. It's not like the regular one where you just hold the gas and pray to God that you make it through.
That's the one thing that we pointed out the most. It seemed that going through turn 1, the car was actually bottoming out a little bit just in the front. It was hitting so bad through the bumps, but a few gyro cams and some suspension cameras showed exactly how much travel there was in it. So it's definitely, we saw a lot of just the same thing we always see with the K&N car, with the nose of the car being a shovel and the back of it being flatter than Alan's ass. So it's definitely, you got to line up just right to make that bump work. Otherwise, you're going to send the car down the track or up into the wall. And as we saw, I think the 96 of Jason Roadbush, he gets the BC Headache Powder Award for barrel rolling down the backstretch on that one.
Yeah, there was some air in there.
There was a ton of air, and then I think Welsenbach also gets it too, because he did like a kickflip 10 million coming down from the track onto the grass. But enough bullshitting. We'll wrap this one up, and we will see you next week at Talladega for the All-Star race, and let it be a surprise. I don't want to know what the car is until I load into the sim.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to run the stages in it too and eliminate it down and all that, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll make it where it's a fun event. I mean, hell, everybody's going to be full of pecan pie and pumpkin pie and turkey and all that good stuff, so something to get back to our drivers, you know. And I'm glad y'all are back with it. I mean, y'all started out with us on the Friday night K&N, and we've grown since then and learned since then, so, you know, I know Alan was just part of the deal, but I guess we'll have to deal with that shit.
Sometimes you gotta roll with the cards that were given to you, and unfortunately I always get a shit hand when I'm playing poker, so gotta deal with it. But definitely look forward to next week covering the All-Star race, and I believe that'll do it tonight. So thanks for bringing us back, and we look forward to the rest of the season.